So you're thinking about joining the Canadian Forces, but you're not sure if you can make that full-time commitment to a military lifestyle. Or maybe you're just curious what being a part-time soldier is all about. Well, this video is for you. Today's topic was another highly requested one. We're diving into what life in the Canadian Army Reserve is really like, how training compares to the regular force, and how they've contributed to our overall operational effectiveness. We're going to talk about the difference in pay, the difference in promotion times, and the different opportunities that await you as a reservist, including deployment opportunities and opportunities to go special forces. So first, let's break it down. Regular force versus reserve. We know what the regular force is. Those are the full-time active duty soldiers. But what's a part-time soldier, or a reservist? The easiest way to explain an Army reservist: same rank, same uniform, same structure, similar training, still a soldier, just part-time. For the average reservist, unless you're on what's called a Class B, you're going to serve locally and report to any kind of local armories in your area, usually just one evening a week and one weekend a month. Compared to the regular force, you serve full-time and you move wherever they need you. So if you're someone who's always wanted to serve the military, but you're going to school, or you have a civilian career that's just too good to pass up, or maybe you have a big family already and you just simply can't leave your hometown, then maybe the reserves is the way to go for you. So BMQ, or Basic Military Qualifications. I won't dive in too much of that. If you want to learn more about that, check out my other video where I talked about BMQ, DP1, the differences in the two, and how to prepare. Both the regular force and the reserves go through BMQ, but the format's a little bit different. For the regular force, it's a 9-week course, generally held at Saint Jean, Quebec, and it's full-time with no breaks. Meanwhile, the reserves, they actually have an option. Your BMQ is either going to be over the course of 9 to 12 weekends. This is perfect for people who are either in school or work Monday to Friday. Or you can do a full-time course condensed to about 3 to 4 weeks, and it's usually over the course of the summer. Either way, your BMQ is going to cover the same kind of curriculum: drill, marching, military ethos, weapons handling, and just indoctrinating you into a military lifestyle. After BMQ, you're going to move on to your DP1, or your trades training. This is where you're going to learn the ins and outs of whatever trade you chose. Let's use infantry as an example. In the regular force, infantry DP1 is about 20 weeks or more long. It's intense, full-time, focuses on real-life combat training, live fire section attacks, urban ops, a whole plethora of weapons training, you name it. In the reserves, you get a shortened but focused 7-week version. It's often spread over 2 summers and split up into 2 modules. Mod 1, if they still run it the way they did when I went through infantry training, is all of your weapons handling and classroom. Mod 2 is all of your field craft going into offensive and defensive operations. But in some cases, they do get the option to do the entire course in 1 summer. The intensity of the training is still there. It's just a little less time on tasks, a little less repetitions, and it's generally expected that you're going to practice these drills at your unit in between modules. For the combat engineers, it's a similar idea. The Reg Force DP1 is a bit more than 5 months long. In the reserves, it's generally split. Again, sometimes they do get the option to do a full course throughout the summer. But often what you see is a 4-week SQ or soldier qualification, followed by a 6 to 8 week engineer module. They're going to go over a lot of the same stuff we do in the Reg Force: bridging, demolition, fortifications, construction. There's just a few things that they don't do. And just like with the infantry, not as much repetitions or time on the tasks. Bottom line, they're still the same trades. The courses are just designed in a way that you can balance both military life and civilian life. Now let's talk about deployments and operational impact. Here's where a lot of people do get surprised. Reservists, although part-time soldiers, they do deploy. And not just a few of them, a lot of them. In fact, close to half of all current serving reservists, about 48%, have deployed either domestically or in international operations. This includes missions like Op Reassurance in Latvia, Op Unifier in Ukraine, and domestic responses to fires, floods, and COVID-19. The best thing about it is they all volunteer to deploy. Unlike the regular force, you're never going to be forced to go. Reservists are a key part of the CAF surge capability. They step up when needed, and they've proven themselves over and over again. Before I move on from this topic, I want to mention the reservists in Afghanistan. One of the most powerful truths about reservists is they don't just hold training positions or man the fort back home. They fought alongside the regular force in Afghanistan, and at times, reservists made up as much as 20% of deployed Canadian soldiers, stepping up when Canada needed it most. I want to pay an honorable mention to Corporal Brian Pinkson of the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. Corporal Brian Pinkson was a reservist out of Corner Brook, Newfoundland, where I started my career. He was deployed serving with the 1st Battalion, the Royal Canadian Regiment Battle Group in Kandahar Province. In August 2010, during a foot patrol, Corporal Pinkson and his team hit an IED. He was quickly evacuated to a Kandahar airfield, where he was then flown to a hospital in Germany. Tragically, he did succumb to his injuries just days later. An example of a true hero who answered the call and made the ultimate sacrifice. His sacrifice, and the sacrifice of so many others, remind us that part-time service does not mean part-time courage. They fight, they serve, and they stand shoulder to shoulder with their Reg Force brothers and sisters. Okay, let's talk about money. Reservists earn 92.8% of what the Reg Force make. That's only about 7.5% less on a daily rate. You still qualify for raises, bonuses, and tax-free deployment pay. And for promotions, here's the cool part for you guys. since your time in is counted in paid days, you actually rank up a lot quicker than your Reg Force counterparts. Of course, that's as long as you stay consistent and put in the work. You also have some awesome access to CAF benefits like tuition reimbursements, pension contributions once you hit so many paid days, and plenty of opportunities to take on specialized courses within the military. And it's all on the government's dime. Next, let's talk about balancing military life and civilian life. One of the biggest strengths of the Reserve Force is its flexibility. You can be a soldier on the weekends, the summertime, or deployed on a 6-month operation, and then come home and be a mechanic, nurse, or an electrician. And because of that, the plethora of experience that the reservists bring into our ranks is ginormous. And if you are a reservist and you truly love the military lifestyle, you can always transfer and go regular force. That's called a CT, or component transfer. During a component transfer, you leave the reserves, spend one single day as a civilian, and then that following day, you're a member of the regular force. Often when you make the switch, as long as you have all qualifications within the trade that you're switching to, you don't have to redo any kind of training. Sometimes, of course, there are little conversion courses. For example, if you are a reserve engineer and you come to the Reg Force engineers, there are a few things on the Reg Force DP1, like I mentioned, that don't get covered on your reserve DP1. Therefore, you're going to have to do some sort of conversion course to get yourself caught up with your Reg Force counterparts. And yes, like a lot of you guys have asked me, reservists can apply for the Special Forces, or CANSOF. If you meet the standards, there's nothing stopping you from trying out to be an operator, assaulter, a door gunner, whatever path you want to take. If you're thinking about joining the reserves, or you recently joined, here's a few things I think you should know. First of all, the kit. The kit that you get issued, it's the same kit that we use. We want you to be able to fight and train just how we do. You're going to make some close friends that come from all walks of life. And these friends are going to stick with you your entire career. Like I've mentioned before, I've been in for almost 12 years, and I still have friends I talk to this day that I met on my first week in the military. It's a serious time commitment, but the rewards are massive. Confidence, leadership, skills, income, and experiences you won't find anywhere else in the civilian world. And if you do decide that the military life isn't for you, that's okay, because there's no long-term contract when you're in the reserves. You can try it out, serve your country, and walk away proud of what you've accomplished. So that's what Canadian Forces life really looks like, on the reserve side of things at least. Whether you're just curious or seriously thinking about joining, I hope this gave you a better look behind the curtain. Like always, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I do videos like this a couple times a week where I talk about what life is truly like in the Canadian Forces, the stuff that the recruiters don't tell you. If you're a reservist yourself, comment what regiment you're from below. I'd love to hear it. I know there's a whole bunch of different reserve regiments across Canada with different battle honors, specialties, and some with some high readiness tasks. I'd love to hear your story. Alright guys, that was a whole lot of fun to make. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Comment below what video you guys want to see next. And like always, catch you in the next one.